Heber temple. This is super late breaking news, and you can probably tell by my slides. They don't look very good because I made them in my car while I was driving. But I knew that it was in court for
summary. You made
summary.
This in your car?
Yeah.
You
on
made
my
a slide
phone.
in your
I figured
car
out
while
how
you
to make
were driving?
slides. Yeah, well, I wasn't driving. I pulled over. But because I had somebody that was actually at this meeting today and was feeding me information. And I was like, I got to put this on a slide. I need a personal assistant to just follow me around everywhere, write down every word I say. This is what I need. So if anybody wants to volunteer. So this is breaking news on the Heber Valley Temple. Today, June 2nd, there was a hearing in the afternoon for summary judgment in the 4th District Court. And so it was a little confusing. I was even talking it over with our husband. What does this mean exactly? But it means that instead of a trial, a judge is going to hear the different sides. It was oral arguments today and then kind of make a decision. Let's just get through this. Yeah. So I have some notes.
What it means is there's no issue of material fact for a jury to decide, and the judge can decide the case as a matter of law.
Right, exactly. So this is Judge Jennifer Mabee in the 4th District Court in Heber. And I do know that there was a big fast for this. I saw on social media, of course, that the residents were fasting in anticipation of this meeting today. And I love what my co-host Landon on Mormonish says. He says, fasting is wishing without food. I thought that was absolutely perfect. So wishing without food is what everybody was doing for the outcome of this case. So the person that I had in the courtroom was kind of sending me notes. So today, the 4th Circuit judge heard the arguments before the summary judgment. Here's a picture, a rendering of what this is a massive temple. If you remember reports on this before, 210 feet tall in the path of a runway. What?
Rebecca, who's bringing the motion for summary judgment?
The plaintiffs, the residents. The residents are saying, we want this.
They want, okay, so what is it they want?
They want the judge to make a ruling.
About what?
About the temple, that it, okay, that sounded very simplistic. So what happened in Heber is the temple is being built on county land, not city land. And so unbeknownst to many, many people, the county commission passed a legislative development agreement. That means it doesn't go before any vote, nothing like that. They just kind of unilaterally say, yes, you can build this. And they overturned existing dark skies and height ordinances that had been there in the area for over 20 years, just like that, without anybody knowing. And we've reported on this before. Some of the people on the board and the planning commission were there at the groundbreaking, standing there with a golden shovel right beside President Nelson. So the residents tried a lawsuit for dark skies. They ran out of money on that. They tried to get this legislative development agreement on the ballot. They didn't get enough signatures. They've just been trying all along. So this is the last lawsuit from some residents that just say this was done. I don't want to use the word illegally, but there were some, there were just some problems with how it was done because no one in the community got to weigh in at all. It was just presented. Yes, we're overturning dark skies ordinance. And yes, we're overturning height. Go ahead and build your temple. So That's kind of where we stand. I know I forget that not everybody dreams about this every night like I do. So anyway, I'll go through this here. So what the church has joined with the town to fight their own residents. This is what they said when they gave oral presentations to the judge. First of all, they said that the plaintiffs, the residents, they don't have any standing because they don't live in the land planning jurisdiction that applies to this area. That's their main argument. You don't even have standing to bring this suit because you don't live in this county land. You live in the city. That seems to be splitting hairs. They also said that the land, an
important distinction to me.
Yeah, I think so too, but that's what they said. Okay, so the land development agreement is valid because the commission was voted in, right? The citizens voted for the county commission and they represent what the people want. So they can just do it. You voted for me, I can do it. You don't need to know what I'm doing, but I did it, right? That's another argument. These are very simplistic as I'm describing them. Another thing that the church and the city together through their attorney said was, as long as there's a benefit to the county, it should stand, right? They did the right thing. They did the right thing, overturning everything so that this temple can be there because it's going to benefit the county. The next thing is the temple will bring an economic benefit to the area. Will it? Will it bring a tax base? Don't even get me started on that.
Those last two things just don't seem to me to be appropriate in a summary judgment
Yeah,
motion.
this is what they're
First two
saying.
do. The
They
first two
did
do.
they did mention that there would be a benefit to wedding planners. This is a destination temple, and there are going to be all kind of people coming who are getting married. So that's a benefit. And I, of course, know that this temple is there simply because there's a girls' camp that operates all summer long, and they're just going to bring busloads of kids to do baptisms for the dead. So anyway, economic benefit. The temple will build community and be a gathering place. And they actually said residents can walk on the grounds and use the bathroom.
I'm there.
I question that. I question anyone in the chat. Can you go into the temple and use the bathroom?
No, of course you can't.
I'd like someone to try it
You
somewhere.
can if you're a resident who also has a temple recommend. That's the part they didn't say.
Yeah, but they said, it's going to be a community available for everyone to walk on the grounds. Again, there are limitations to that. I do know that. So interesting argument. And then they said 800 of the 900 messages, emails, whatever, to the town were in favor of the temple. Well, we all know why that was, because as reported, the church asked everybody to send emails. I mean, we've seen this over and over. You guys know the drill. So those were some of the arguments from the church and the town's lawyers in front of this judge. Now, the residents basically kind of disputed everything that was said there. And two of their major points were they did not notify anybody in the county of really what was up for bid, if that makes sense. They didn't send out a simple summary or description that said, hey, everybody, we're going to overturn all your dark skies ordinances, and we're going to overturn all your building height stipulations. They did not send anything like that out. So no one even knew what was happening to be able to object.
But these are residents of Heber, right?
Yeah, Heber.
See, they're not in the county, and the temple's built in the county. That's what this whole summary judgment motion, I think, hinges on.
Yeah, and you're right. You've absolutely got it. You don't even need to read my slide. The next steps, the judge said, is perhaps some more briefs. She said, maybe you guys write up some more stuff. They kind of pushed back and said, no, we've already said all we have to say, but she's asking for more briefs. The main thing, you caught it, the judge is going to determine if there's even standing. And this is what happened in Lone Mountain. They determined that the residents group didn't even have standing to oppose, and it was just dismissed. And this may happen here. My person in the courtroom did say that the judge has made a decision before on a land development agreement that was then appealed and overturned by a higher judge. And so she might be concerned about that. So my person in the courtroom's prediction is that they'll just dismiss it because of no standing.
Probably. Now, to be fair, the no standing argument is what's being used by Fairview citizens in order to challenge the vote and say a supermajority was needed.
You're absolutely right. So, I mean, everybody can use that, and that can be something that just cuts through it right there. So that's kind of where we stand. But I mean, I don't even think there's an article out about this yet. It's funny. Sometimes I'll post something and someone will go, where'd you get that? I don't see an article. And I'm like, I make the news. It's my news. So, but hopefully tomorrow something will come out and I'll post that for people to see. So I did want to bring up one more thing about Heber. Oh my goodness. The whole look and feel of Heber is changing with this new temple. And this, have you guys heard of this? There is a Book of Mormon sculpture garden that has just broken ground in Heber City. This is a retired plastic surgeon, and he has a dream, and he's going to build it. And they had a big groundbreaking with a lot of notable people that attended. It's called the Monument of the Americas. It's been 30 years in the making, and it's kind of up on a hill, almost a place where I thought might be an alternative temple site, but instead they're launching this. It's kind of, I think, up by the UVU campus. If you're familiar with this, they're going to be, I think, upwards of 80 sculptures, and you can guess what it is. The Book of Mormon Sculpture Garden. It's sort of that melding of American history and the Book of Mormon. We've seen a lot of that. So it basically says it's going to feature a waterfall cascading over a wall designed to look like the golden plates, if you can picture that. And the crown jewel of the garden is going to be an 18-foot tall statue of Jesus. And the most important part is it will be lit up at night.
Yes.
The sculpture, and you will be able to see it from all parts of the valley.
Hooray for Israel.
Yep. Hurrah. You have to say
hurrah for Israel.
Sorry, Israel. Yeah. So not only will the temple light everything up, but the sculpture garden will be lit up also at night, and you'll be able to see that. And I'm pretty sure that's why people go to that area from out of state. They want to see these things. There were local and state leaders that were here at the groundbreaking. Even former Governor Gary Herbert, he said that the United States founding cannot be separated from the story of the LDS Church. No way to separate it. Can't at all.
It's kind of true when you read 1 Nephi 13.
Yeah, well, there is that. He said, I believe the founding fathers were raised up by God for the LDS. That's exactly right. We know that part of the LDS scripture is to have this country ordained by Heavenly Father. So it's going to show Book of Mormon stories. It's going to show Americana, American history stories, and it's all going to be put together on a 12-acre site. They already have $3 million of cash donations. So people really care about this. And this is, I would suggest everybody go up and see it. Right now, all they have is a statue of George Washington and Jesus, and I think a few other things in place, because this was just the groundbreaking. But my whole point of showing this is just that the whole look and feel of Heber Valley, Utah, if you're familiar with this is skiing, this is outdoor, this is dark skies, this is people from out of state building billion-dollar cabins. I feel like it's all going to change now. So
way over there on the right, I think I see the windmill at the 18th hole.
Yeah, that could be it.
That was always the hardest one for me to get the golf ball through.
Yeah, that's it. But here are some more pictures. There's George Washington. There's Jesus. It's going to be really interesting to see it being put together. But I think a lot of the longtime residents of Heber are just, their heads are spinning, because it's about 50-50 LDS, not LDS. And I don't know what residents who aren't LDS think about this, but $3 million worth of donations, that's pretty big.
That would buy you what, about 1.5 of these sculptures?
I think maybe it would. Yeah, I think maybe it would. So that's the end of my temple reporting. If we don't have any more comments,